This is a brief introduction to Adobe Audition. So when you first click into the Audition application, this is the screen you're going to be greeted with. Okay, I do not have a project created yet, so my first step is to create a new project. And we have two options for the type of project we want to create. And those are these two tabs up here. Okay, so the left tab, known as the waveform tab, this is the type of project that will allow you to import and edit a single clip. Okay, but the more desirable project for what we're doing in terms of creating a podcast is called a multi-track project. Okay, and this project will allow you to import, layer, edit, and piece together multiple clips. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this tab. When we click on that, we see a new window comes up for saving our project. Okay, so my session name, which is basically your project name, you want that to be unique. Okay, so I'm going to title this podcast assignment demo, and I always use today's date in here to help me remember which is the most recent project. Okay, and then the folder location, also incredibly important. We want to make sure that we save our project to the appropriate folder. Okay, so I'm going to browse here. I'm going to save this to my external hard drive, to my digital storytelling folder, and then my podcast assignment. Okay, and then I'm going to click choose. Okay, and the rest of these I'm going to leave as whatever comes up as default. Okay, so my settings probably look a little bit different than the ones on your screen because I have a certain type of microphone attached to my computer. Okay, if you're just using the microphone off of your computer, you might see different numbers here, like you might see 44.1, for example. Okay, the one thing that I do want to make sure we're all on the same page with is click mono. So mono will allow the same sound to come out of both the left and the right ear. Okay, stereo is when you can mix it so you have certain things coming, like certain instruments, for example, come out of the left and then pan to the right. But that's a little bit advanced for what we're doing now. So we're just going to keep it simple, keep all of these settings as whatever comes up as default, but make sure your master clip says mono. And then we're going to click OK and create our new project. Okay, so just to walk you through the interface a little bit here, so you can see these are our different tracks, and Audition really nicely labels each track with a different color. So once we start importing our clips, you'll see that all of the clips on a certain track is the same color. So it helps really organize and quickly navigate to whatever clips you're looking for. On each clip, we have three options here. Okay, M is mute. So that means when you're playing back, you can mute whatever track you so desire. S means solo. And what that means is it will only play that track back. Okay, so by default, when you click S on a track, all of the other tracks become muted. Okay, and then R is record. Okay, so if I want to go ahead and record right into Adobe Audition, this R has to be selected, and you could see I have my level, my audio wave levels here. When I press the record button, test 1 2 1 2 1 2, test, stop. Okay, so if I did not have this R selected, I would not be able to record anything. Okay, so knowing what these three buttons are, very important. These are volume, and this is the pan. So if you want something to only come out of the left ear, which we wouldn't really want to do for a podcast, you can click, move it to the left or the right, but we're just going to keep that right in the center for now. I'm going to click this, type 0, enter. Okay, all of the other settings we're not going to worry about right now. This is an introductory video. Quickly, just to go over to the left side here, we have different window panels. So the files window will show you all of the files that you have in your project. You could see once I started recording, it actually saved this recording as its own track. Okay, Down here, we're not going to worry about properties. That's mostly text-based information, but the effects rack is where you can put multiple effects on each track. Okay, so you could see here track 1, and then we have multiple effects that we can put on there. Okay, and then history, you could go back in steps, as many as you want, from as early as you opening the project. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this recording, clicking on it and pressing delete. Okay, now if you are not recording directly into Adobe Audition, and I assume many of you are not, you're recording into your phones and then you'll be importing the footage into Adobe Audition. So to import, what we're going to do is go up to File, and then we're going to go down to Import, and then we're going to import a file. Okay, so I have my files nicely saved. I'm going to start from the beginning, go into my G drive, into digital storytelling, into my podcast assignment, and then all the raw clips that I want to import can be found in here. Okay, so first I'll import my voiceover. You can select both at the same time, but just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to do one at a time so that I can repeat the process. So I'm going to click on my voiceover track, which is recorded on my phone. I'm going to click open. And you could see it showed up here in my files panel. Okay, so to get this into my timeline, simple click and drag. Okay, now this is telling me that when I created my project, remember those settings that I said leave as default? Okay, another reason you could leave those settings as default is because when you import a project, it'll tell you, do you want, or it will ask you, I'm sorry, do you want this project to meet the settings of your clip? And we're absolutely going to say okay. Okay, so now we could see here I have my voiceover track.
It takes 0.42 seconds to find my name.
Okay, so I'm sure that you guys noticed that it's quite low. I'm only peaking around, let's say like minus 34, something like this. Okay, I want to be peaking somewhere around here between minus 12 and minus 6. So what I'm going to have to do is click. So I have two ways of adjusting the volume. As I mentioned, I could come here and click this up like this.
Online, it takes 0.42 seconds to find my name.
Okay, if I click and scroll my mouse to the right, it's going to go up even more.
I'm looking for people.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, so I have my voiceover, and now I'm going to put in an instrumental track. Okay, so repeat this process again. I'm going to go up to File, Import, File, and then in that same folder, just to show you from the beginning, digital storytelling is my hard drive, digital storytelling, podcast assignment. My song is also in the raw files. This is my song track. Click open. It's going to save here in my files palette. Now I'm going to click, and the track below, click OK. I'm going to place this. Okay, now you can see here that this instrumental track is so much louder than my voiceover. Okay, my voiceover track was actually very poorly recorded. Okay, and I did that on purpose so that you could see the difference between high quality audio waves and low. Okay, ideally I should not have to raise the volume all the way up to 15. I should be able to keep it at 0 and it will play between the minus 6 and minus 12. So the way that you avoid that is to keep your phone close to your mouth. Okay, if you have your phone just lying on a table, the microphone is actually going to be pointed half at the table, so you will get a muffled and low voice. Okay, so hold your phone up towards your mouth. Keep the microphone only a fist's width distance from your mouth as you speak. Okay, so just looking at these mixes, if I play back,
online, it takes 0.42.
You can see that that instrumental is way too loud. So what I need to do is come here, adjust the volume all the way down.
Online, it takes 0.42
That's a bit
seconds
better.
to find my name.
Okay, I have a lot of pauses in here.
I'm looking for people.
Okay, one thing that's really important, okay, once you start creating a project and you start importing clips, do not move them. Okay, do not move them and do not rename them because the program references your original files. Okay, so it's not creating a new file and eating up all this space on your drive, it's referencing that original. Okay, so if you rename it, what's going to happen is you're going to see a big red track here that says media offline. Okay, so make sure as soon as you import clips into a project, whether it's Adobe Audition or Premiere, don't move them from wherever they are, and also do not rename them. Okay, if you want to rename your files and clips, make sure to do so before you bring them in your editing program. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. I will see you in a future video.